Tonight, as we celebrate Women's History Month, we are honored to recognize an extraordinary journalist whose work has made a global impact. Our guest is Emily Francis, an Emmy Award-winning journalist with over 25 years of experience in television as a host, anchor, reporter, interviewer, and producer. A Malibu native
Mhm.
and cum laude graduate of the University of Pennsylvania's Annenberg for Communication, Emily's passion for storytelling has defined her career from the very beginning. She rose to national prominence in New York City as the entertainment anchor and celebrity interviewer for WPIX Morning News, earning multiple Emmy Awards, including for her live Oscar red carpet coverage after starting her career at WCBS News. After making Aliyah in 2013, Emily joined I-24 News English, an international network reaching millions worldwide. She now hosts and produces Holy Land Uncovered and Jewish World Weekly, and continues to report powerful human interest stories, especially in the wake of October 7th. Known for her warmth, trust building interview style, and compelling storytelling, Emily is also the founder of Bana Productions. Tonight, in honor of Women's History Month, the Global Women Media Alliance Jerusalem proudly honors Emily Francis for her outstanding contributions to media. Please give a warm welcome to Lifestyles, Emily Francis.
Oh, what an introduction. I love you. Thank you
Oh, I
so much
love
for this
you.
honor. I've never received such a wonderful honor. You've just started my 2026 with a reason to smile. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome and so deserving. I mean, you
Thank
do
you.
such great work. And tonight we want to amplify and highlight why we are honoring you as a woman of faith in media.
Mm.
You know, when you think about your journey and career, you've had such a wide-ranging career from local news to international broadcasting. And when you look back, what moments would you say most shaped you as a journalist?
Wow, what a question. First of all, again, I'm so honored that I am. It's funny because I'm not used to being the one interviewed on the other side and having to tout my own accomplishments. But I have to say, ironically, as we're doing this interview, it brought me back to 25 years ago. My first reporting job was in Tucson, Arizona, where there's news coverage, global news coverage over the disappearance of the mother of Savannah Guthrie from the Today Show. It's bringing me back to that moment when I first arrived there with no only producing experience, a young, ambitious journalist, and it was my first on-air reporting job. And I remember getting to this beautiful, amazing place with scenery and the desert. And I just was thinking, I just something about the desert, and it was the high desert, and it was beautiful, and it was green, and there were mountains, and I've always, I guess, been a mystic, not realizing it. I love the stars. I love the night sky. And this is a place where there's no street lights because it's known for the astronomy.
Mm.
And I remember, um, shortly thereafter, there being a major, major news story. And I had no experience whatsoever at doing live reporting. And I just remember being terrible. The light would go on, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. What do I do? What do I say? Doesn't matter what my credentials were. I was just really, really nervous. And um, so ironically, what ended up influencing me, it took about a good year, was there was a major story of a missing person in Tucson that was a missing hiker, and the whole thing, like a search and rescue and everything that's happening now for this poor 85-year-old woman that just was up and kidnapped.
Right.
And and I remember all of a sudden they found the missing hiker, and it was news helicopters and cameras, and I had no time to prepare. It was like, Emily, you're live. And I talked for like 15 minutes with nothing prepared. And it was in that very moment when I didn't have control and I was just able to be myself, which was what my producer, who's still my friend to this day, just be you. And I did this live shot, and then he talked to my ear. He's like, "You got it," and like the rest was history. It was like a defining moment, and it's just so crazy the time and then synchronicity of all of that's happening at this very moment in this cute little town that you don't expect crimes to happen in.
And that's you, yourself. You feel make others feel so comfortable with your interviewing style, and you are such a lovely person. And I am so honored not only to honor you this month, but to honor you, our friendship, and just my love for you. I love and appreciate you so, so very much. And I'll never forget, speaking in the wake of October 7th, I'll never forget the morning that you called me and you asked me while I was there in the shelter, was I afraid? And I said to you, yeah, I'm afraid. And I said, what about you? Aren't you afraid? And you said to me some very, very powerful words, and I'll never forget it. And you said, fear is not an option. So you are such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person, and just just your warmth and making people feel comfortable, and it's just amazing. So I just needed to say that.
Well, girl, it's
Um,
so mutual. I mean, we got ourselves through those first days. And yes, I think I was on adrenaline. Maybe I wasn't afraid because I had you. It
yeah,
soon became, as you know, very, very scary. But we had each other, and we had just
yes,
spent 3 days earlier at the Western Wall with my kids who
yes.
absolutely fell in love with you. And we're singing at the
Had no
wall on
idea what we were
Simcoe.
getting ready to face the very next day, and your words shook me because I had never gone through anything like
Neither
that. I
had
mean,
I. I know.
right.
That's why
Well,
I can't
neither
believe I
had
said that.
the whole country of Israel. And
Israelis are
yet
used
I'm
to it. We're
here in this.
Americans.
Yes, we're Americans. So you said to me, fear is not an option. And I have taken that with me in
Wow.
so many areas of my life. But you need to know that that shook me to my core that
Wow.
day. And it shook me to make me not operate in fear, but to operate in faith. And so I just, I mean, you are just so amazing and I love you so much.
I
Well,
love
but
you
tonight
too.
is not to talk about, what, however you want to get into that, we can, because I think it's important, for people to understand October 7th and moving forward. But tonight we're honoring you. And,
Thank
when
you.
you think about early in your career, what lessons did you learn that still guide you today?
Number one, I mean, I think I credit my family with this because I grew up with the right kind of upbringing of being honest, not speaking badly, speaking the truth. And I think not forgetting where you come from. And I think that's something that I have taken with me, that I think not having a big ego, being proud of the fact that I'm like the inverse of a egomaniac. I really feel this way. Because that was something that was instilled on me from a very young age. You look everybody in the eye, and that includes the people that are sweeping the floors here at I-24. That includes the people that are here with a visa for a short time. And I think strength and character that I learned is what served me well through all the ups and downs, but also disappointments. And I definitely have a naivete, and I think the world is beautiful and everybody's wonderful, and I've clearly have learned the hard way that not everybody is like me and you.
What a
Yeah.
lesson. And that is so powerful. As we honor Women's History Month, how do you see, or how have you seen opportunities for women in media evolve over the past 2 decades? And what challenges did
Mm.
you face as a woman in journalism? And how do you learn to navigate or overcome them?
It's interesting. I think we're also at a generation where we had so many women that came before us that kind of paved that way. I mean, we never, yeah, we had our challenges, but the ceiling was already broken, I feel, in many times for women journalists, right? So I think, the biggest challenge was more than anything, I've been very lucky in all my jobs. I've been very blessed, and I guess I could thank God for this. Where every place that I've worked, every chapter, everybody's become a family, even in Tucson, Arizona. Um, but I think some of the challenges, to be honest with you, that I didn't realize then, because I'm just a life is beautiful girl from LA, I didn't realize that there were always like the issues were with some one woman in each job. I love everybody loving me, and like, why is this person not nice to me, and why is this person seemingly jealous when they're an anchor and I'm a reporter, and I'm not going to name names. um, Similarly, I had an experience in New York with a boss, and I realized now, and I was too naive to say it, that there was anti-Semitism behind it. And all those years, I thought it was me, like I'm killing with kindness. But I remember there was a comment from this one said person early in my career was, she was bleeding and I gave her a Kleenex. And I said, I'm just I'm being like a Jewish mom. And she literally, in a bar in front of people, turned to me and said, your people killed our God, while we're all having beers in a restaurant. And I was too naive. Wasn't delving into that part of my
Right.
history. That's the Jewish experience. We fit in. We're not trying to be different. And I look back now at how much I've changed and what I would have done differently. And I was like, oh no, we didn't. And I think now that I'm looking back at all of this anxiety I had over like the one person that doesn't like you, and I couldn't understand why, now I'm realizing what I never do to look at, because I'm very blessed. I'm from LA. I didn't experience that in my life
Yes.
actively, clearly, until October 7th. And now I've learned who my friends are. It's amazing how some friends I thought I had for life haven't even checked in on me. So that's been the hardest.
Wow.
Realizing it now, like, oh, I get it. This
Yeah.
boss was harassing me because he didn't like Jews. And it wasn't being defensive or being a victim. It's actually based on, now I understand that it was all there all along. But
Yeah.
in my lens of it's a beautiful life and I'm amazing and I get along with everybody, I didn't even think to look at it, because I didn't grow up with any of these things happening like my colleagues from France or other
Right.
countries where it's really in their face.
Yes. And now you made Aliyah. And so, making Aliyah and reporting from Israel added an entirely new dimension to your work, speaking in terms of,
Yeah.
you sharing that experience with us. How did that transition change your perspective as a journalist and storyteller and that experience that
Mm.
you had?
Um, that's a really good question. When I first came here, I was like, again, I came here because I really went on a spiritual journey, and I love the Torah. I love history. It just opened up something in my aura that led me here. It wasn't like my life was leading me to Israel, but I felt a calling and I felt a pull, and it was really like, okay, I feel it was God saying I have to be here and be a light upon nations. It wasn't based on any ego. It was just something I felt called to do. And I
Mhm.
didn't get the job when I moved here. I moved here with two babies. I didn't even have a job when I moved here. It was like I just felt like I had to come here. And it was and so the first couple of years was like an awakening for me spiritually, and also as a mother. I got married and had kids later, my late 30s.
Mhm.
And every holiday the kids are at their little gone, and it's Tu B'Shvat, and we're studying how trees defy gravity, and each thing, it was like I was living this experience of understanding what it means in a way that the kids didn't understand. I was like a kid. I'm like, ooh, Tu B'Shvat, we're planting trees, the holiday of the trees. I didn't know what it was as a kid. We didn't talk about these things.
Mhm.
Um, but the intention was, and when I met you, when I was hosting Holy Land Uncovered, I was really living the dream, because everything I got to do and curate was exactly that. Was a the history, all of the holidays, interviewing priests, interviewing Christians, interviewing doing specials on Easter, doing the Feast of the Tabernacles, and then the first time that I interviewed you, when you came to Israel, and that was like we were connected by our souls in that first meeting, and then to top it off with you know the cherry on top, which was the Women of the Bible tour that we were able to be a part of. I mean, who would think that was what, July?
Yes.
And I put the whole show together with everything, and then it didn't, and then October 7th happened, and finally it got on the air. But there's a purpose here.
That's
But the
right.
past few years has really been a test. I'm just now feeling better. Like it really, really took a toll. Like I went through last year for the first time in my life being like, why did I move here? I made a mistake. I sold my apartment. Like I can't go back. My family doesn't want me and my kids going into bomb shelters. Like it was really a God, why did I
Yes.
have to like why did I do this?
Yes.
Um, so there's been a lot of, you know, ups and downs, but I really had a dark moment in the past year. Like,
Yes.
why did I do this? I'm such an idiot. I could be living in the US and but then that wouldn't be the right place for me either. I could only do what I feel I'm chosen to do here from Israel. No one's going to care. My old TV channel, we wouldn't be able to do the Women of the Bible tour and you and I like that
Right.
wouldn't not that it has anything to do with race, but it's not of interest.
Yes.
Here it's of interest and we
It's
could talk about shared history.
yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Because I mean, reporting, for a global audience, it can be very complex.
Yeah.
And being there in Israel, which is the epicenter of the whole universe, the whole earth. And reporting, it has its complexes. It definitely takes faith, to stand. And so when you
Mm-hmm.
look at that, how do you balance sensitivity, accuracy, and impact when covering stories that resonate worldwide?
Wow. How best could I guess what's coming to my head now to answer that is just the experience of post October 7th and being the one on, again, I went from Holy Land Uncovered talking to you and going, really, it was my most beautiful life.
Yes.
Then you get thrown into this story. And because of my empathy and my interview style, the next thing I know, I'm covering the hostages for 2.5 years, almost every day in Hostages Square. I used to interview celebrities. Now it's, on speed dial, it's the families of these hostages. And it was a pull of I think there was a lot of adrenaline and okay, I don't know anyone. I don't have any family members. A guy like, okay, I'm the one, I'm responsible. I want to hug you. I want to, Israel high and da, 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 and all this energy I had, which was very much, I guess, typical when these things happen, um, that I didn't feel, I felt like I got too, it's not that I got too close to it. I'm an empath. So I couldn't help but go all in. And I
Mhm.
think
Yes.
that's what's challenging as a journalist, especially when you are the story, to have that, you used to be able, like all the years in New York, I would cover a fire, someone would die, it would be awful. But like, there was a separation between me as a journalist, but this was personal.
Yes.
So I'm crying. All these things you think that are real human experiences. I mean, for months, like anytime I was like on the air, I would just start crying. But
Yes.
I felt very blessed that I'm working in a place where I can. Maybe if it were New York, they'd be like, you can't cry.
Yeah.
So I think it allowed what's inside to come out and not having to put on this hat of I'm a reporter and blah, 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 blah. Like I
Hmm.
was trying to do it, but I was also the part of the story. So
Yes.
it's still being processed. I think this is one day I will write a book.
Oh,
I
most
have to I have to
definitely.
find the time. It even starts well before October 7th. I have a lot
Yeah.
to share. What am I going to have the time?
Yes. Since October 7th, your reporting has focused heavily on human stories and
Yeah.
and and I watched you and I watched you carry the burdens of the parents and who had missing family members. And I saw you carrying the burden in such a difficult time. You are known for your warmth and your ability to deeply connect with people on camera, not just the ones who you're reporting about, but those who you are reporting to. What do you think is the key to really earning trust as an interviewer?
Honestly, I think the key is something I think you could relate to. You either have it or you don't. The camera doesn't lie, you know? And I think it's just my nature and I genuinely do care and I do
Mhm.
it's And I think that's why it's my nature. It's not acting. And I think you could see on people that we watch on the, in the news all over the world.
Yes.
Um, I think I just was born to do it, I guess.
Yes, and I mean, it's just innate, and
Yeah.
you make people feel that you want to hear. And I think that that's a very rare
Thank
gift
you.
that God gives us.
Thank
So let's
you.
talk about your entrepreneurship and your creativity because you have much.
Mhm.
Now, you founded Bana Productions in
Yeah.
2021. What inspired you to take that leap into independent production?
Well, it's funny. I always had ideas. It wasn't enough for me to come in and do the news and then go and get my nails done. I don't know. I always had this. I know, even in New York, I was like, I'm interviewing celebrities. I came up with an idea of stars behaving gladly. Let's do a show about charity. I always, again, I didn't peg it to creativity. Again, I'm a creative person, but I never labeled myself because I wasn't good at art. I was good at math and science. So you just think, oh, I'm not creative. Well, I now understand I am an artist. This is my art. I love the idea of being with the cameraman and getting beautiful shots. And, when I put stories together, not just the interviews, I'm going through each video, I'm writing it, I'm telling a story. Like it is a form of self expression. And then, as I was going through my awakening of sorts, which was several years, even once I came to I-24, I just started coming upon all of these incredible stories of women in history. And so Bina comes from Kabbalah, which I've been studying. It's, when you go through the tetragram, I don't know what they call it in Christianity, but it's the spherot. It's the 10 layer, the tree of life, basically. I'm working really hard to try to sell some shows. It's a challenge. It's a journey. We have our projects that we want to do, and hopefully we'll get out into the world with it and show the stories of women of our past that were paving the way for us before there was a glass ceiling to break, when women were killed for doing that, not just not getting jobs.
So, what advice would you give young women who dream of careers in journalism or media today?
Wow. That's interesting because today it's so different, right? We're so young in our spirit, but we're a different generation, right?
Yeah,
And I think it's changing so much. And I think what's actually very sad is I remember I was speaking to one of the universities here that have an international journalism school, and they're having a hard time getting kids to want to major in broadcast and journalism. They want it because everybody wants to be influencers. So I don't really know the answer to that because it's it's such an important role, but also it's being diluted in today's world that everybody's an expert and everybody has a podcast and everybody is an influencer, that the news business as we know it has really become a dinosaur.
yes,
And that's what's sad is I don't even have the advice because I don't even there's not even an industry that we're used to for people. I guess what I'm trying to say is if people you have that fire in you that you're meant to be a truth warrior and to go for truth, you have to do it.
yeah,
But I feel that in today's world it's harder to find that outlet because it's more than just let's just get a great job on a CBS station. It's you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to like doing Instagram reels and TikTok and all of these things, which to me is a
yeah,
really big headache. It's really
yeah,
hard, when young people today are growing up doing this stuff.
mhm,
Like for us to learn it, like I'm doing well enough, but I just don't. There's so much more I think that has to go into it because then you have to promote yourself and how many followers do you have and does that
yeah,
it's really a gray area that I don't know the answer. I hope that there will be a new generation of journalists that are going to understand in today's fractured world, as we're seeing on the right and the
yeah,
left, everything is liberal media, conservative media. Like what happened to good old nightly news
yeah,
or nightline, whatever it is. It's hard to find where that niche is going to be in a way that because people will, anyone is an expert and people will believe stuff that are lies. It's really scary.
yeah,
It's very scary.
yeah,
So I hope that, we're going back and forth. The pendulum, I know you believe this too. You'll eventually land in the middle, and hopefully that'll be the next incarnation of our world. And same when it comes to who our leaders are. I mean, it's terrible on both sides. You
yes,
want to pray that there are good people like you and me in school that want to change the world and be the ones bringing America back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yes, bringing hope back, bringing,
because everybody
just the
hates politics.
fundamentals
Why
of
would I
life
want to
back.
subject myself to this? But
Yeah,
like that's what we need. That's
yeah,
what we need.
yes. So when you think about legacy, the legacy that you hope to leave, what do you want your work to be remembered for?
I want to be I want it to be remembered for being honest, being vulnerable, being emotional, being relatable, and it's funny. I've never thought about it. I just do it. I just want to be. I want to be. I want to know that I made an impact with.
Yes,
As my friend Fran Drescher, the nanny, she's my friend, she's like, it's not a revolution, it's a velvet revolution. I want the soft, tender touch to be the change, not by
yeah.
banging it down somebody's head.
This has been such a wonderful time just together and you sharing with our viewers. And so thank you so much, Emily, for your honesty, your courage, and your unwavering commitment to meaningful storytelling. Like everyone can feel your passion. Your work reminds us that journalism at its best is not just about reporting facts, it's about giving advice, it's about creating connection and shining light where it's needed most. I want to make sure that the world knows your work and embraces you. And so, on behalf of the Global Women Media Alliance, Jerusalem, and in celebration of Women's History Month, we are so proud to honor you for your extraordinary contributions to media and for paving the way for future generations of women journalists. So thank you so much, Emily, for
Thank
joining us. And
you. I
thank you
love
for the
you.
stories that you
Mwah.
continue to tell. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your love. And we are just championing you on
I
into
love you
greater
so
heights
much.
this year.
Thank you so much for this honor.
Thank you.